Today we're going to tie a version of the Hohbo Spey, particularly meant for cold weather. The standard marabou Hohbo Spey breaks real easy. All the marabou breaks super easy in cold weather, and right now we've got 33 and 34 degree water temps. It's been really cold for a long time, and we got, a bunch of snow on the ground here around Portland, and it's been a mess. And so if you've been braving the fishing out there, you've probably already noticed that the certain flies tend to fall apart real easy in really cold water temps and freezing temperatures outside. So this will be a lot more durable for you than marabou in really cold weather. Especially if marabou freezes, it's through. So this one takes a little longer, but at least you keep your fly all day. And like I say, it's just a knockoff of the Hohbo Spey, but it's a good marabou fly to demonstrate this on. So first, I've got this is a 25 millimeter Waddington shank. I would rather use the MFC shanks, but I thought I had some and I don't, but I've got some of the old Waddingtons left over. I would use a 30 mil MFC shank, and I'm gonna use wire instead of the standard like Fireline or whatever they use, just so the hook doesn't sag. And to judge distance on this, I'll put my hook on right now. And to protect my fingers from this point, I've just got a little piece of Pro Classic tubing in small. I'll just run over the point of the hook, and then I can tie this and to get my length how I want it. A lot of times the reason I don't just tie in, once you tie a bunch and you can kind of eyeball it, but if you just tie a loop on here without tying your hook, with the wire especially, if you get it off to one side or another, your hook will ride at an angle and it'll actually affect the way this whole fly tracks. So I find it easier just to do it now and cover the hook point. And for materials and stuff, it's a little easier to measure. So I've got a thread base, got my wire tied on. I'm going to throw a little Zap-A-Gap down here underneath, just to make sure everything stays when I'm fishing. I'm going to run it all the way up. Pop it through the eye of the Waddington, fold it back under, and then wrap her all the way back. And try not to touch it and risk gluing your fingers together. Alright, so we're set up here. For the butt dubbing, I'm just going to use some Hot Green Highlander SSS dub. It's spiky, it's good, it picks out good if you want to do that, and it's got a good flash to it. Traditionally the Hohbo Spey will use ice dub, which is perfectly fine. I just like this SSS dub a lot. And I probably got a little too much here on my thread. Well, I guess not. Alright. Alright, we got our butt dubbing here. And now I'm going to take a jumbo guinea feather in natural and carefully peel off the fluff on the bottom. Guinea's easy to break the stem on when you're peeling it, so if you got kind of a weak stem, just take your time on it. I'm going to tie it in tip first. Alright, and then on the other side, I'm going to tie in some medium oval tinsel. So I've got the guinea on my side, and I'm going to tie the tinsel on the opposite side. Give it a little pull, make sure everything's in there secure. I'm going to take my body dubbing, which I've chosen to be my Kelly blue. And you can do a dubbing loop on this as well. If you roll a really tight dubbing loop, it will segment on you and you'll have a harder time putting the guinea exactly where you want, because it will want to fall into those segmentations, and it can be a little tricky. So I usually don't on dubbed body flies that I'm ribbing a hackle on or anything like that. I don't necessarily like a dubbing loop body just for that reason. And I've got it coming on here pretty sloppy, so I should probably tighten up my dubbing noodle here and get her set in real good. Alright. And so what you'll notice right away is I'm leaving quite a bit of room up here, because when we use our Finn Raccoon as marabou, as a marabou substitute, we're going to put that in a dubbing loop and it'll physically need more room. So make sure you don't crowd the eye on this. And I'm going to run my scissors down the top side of the guinea. And the guinea's fairly short, so you're going to need to do wide wraps here. If you can get like 3.5 or 4 turns, you're doing good. And I don't know what I got. 1, 2, 3, 3.5, I guess. Tie that off. I'll kind of pull it forward, and I'm going to reverse wrap my rib. The factory fly doesn't have this rib, but like I say, these stems are not the strongest and they will break on you. And like I say, this is all cold weather, and so if it's, you know, and below freezing temps, if it's gonna break, it'll do it then, and everything takes twice as long, and you might as well just take the extra seconds here and just really get it nice and secured. Lovely. Really rare thread break on the Beavis, but I was cranking down on it pretty hard. Alright. Re-spike her out here. See where we're at, looking good. Alright, so I'm gonna run a dubbing loop. Alright, move my thread up. OPST dubbing tool, still the best in my opinion. And let's see, first color, why don't we do blue, royal blue. Or is this cyan blue? I think this is cyan blue. Yeah, this is royal blue, I think. So Finn Raccoon, real wispy, light stuff. I love this stuff for wings. It just moves great, has a lightness to it. Just with the slightest bit of wind, current, whatever, it'll move around really well for you. Now this isn't, the Hohbo Spey has never really been a fly that stands up like a traditional intruder, which is why I really like it for low, cold, clear winter steelhead rivers is because it still has a good silhouette, it still has good size, it just doesn't have this huge, nasty, intimidating presence of fish are holding in shallow water. Especially, wild winter fish seem to love like deep, shallow tailouts and stuff. You find them a lot of times in this kind of weather, so it just won't be a little too much for them to try to handle. You've got good odds of them biting. So I've got a clump here, and you'll have to play around with how much you like and how much you don't like, but this is on the thin side. I don't know if you can kind of see the diameter here, and we're just over an inch, and maybe an inch and a half tall. So I'm going to pull out some of the long guard hairs that are kind of curved and a little longer. I want everything to be kind of even here, and you really need a good comb for this. Combing this out right and well will make all the difference as far as how this works and how easy it is. So I'm going to start out just light, and I'm going to progressively kind of get in there a little deeper and get it all separated. You can see I'm picking up quite a bit of fluff already just in kind of the first go over. So you got even more. So now I got a good comb out here. I'm going to switch hands and just comb out the front. Make sure everything is really wispy, separate. Well, so you can see how much more separated that is now. That's great. So open your dubbing loop. Pop in your hair. And now you can adjust length. And this is going to be our first color. So we'll go right to probably the hook point area on this one. And that looks pretty good there. So now I'm going to cut the tops. And I'm going to spread it out. And the Finn Raccoon, you can actually, if you're careful, spread it out just with your fingers. Alright, now when I spin on this OPST spinner, I like to hold it at a 90 towards me and then let it drop down. And what that does is it allows the hair to go straight up and down and not kink on you. Alright, just had to make sure we were still recording. I heard a weird noise. Not kink, I'm sorry, I was preoccupied. Sag down. I want it 90 to the thread. I don't want it sag down because that'll really increase the chances of it clumping up and not being able to comb it out. So I'm going to start real slow at first. Okay. This is the hardest part, is taking your time. If you take your time, it'll go right the first time. So I don't have it real locked down at all, so you want to come in with the bodkin and you'll see it's pretty curled up at the moment. And lightly dig it out, what's not supposed to be in thread, real lightly. If you wait too long, you won't be able to dig it out because it'll get too wrapped up and you won't be able to save it. So now we can start kind of wrapping it or spinning it a little more. Come down, just pick it out, and we'll get to a point where we'll use our comb, but right now it's still a little loose in there and I'm not too comfortable using the comb yet because it's a rough way to pick it out, and I can see up in the top area we're not quite there yet. So this one we should be good with the comb. So I'm going to go through, take my comb, and just really get everything out. And I don't know if you can see this on camera, but I can see my thread the whole way down. I can see that orange thread in there. And if you have like a problem area, you can just dig right in. And dig it out. Alright, so that's looking pretty good here. So, I'm going to wet my fingers a little bit. See if we can find a good spot here to... There we go. We don't want it folded over, we just want it nice and even. And now we can start our wraps here. Alright, got 5 wraps. Seems like a lot, but it was... What the hell's going on? I think I got a bad bobbin. This is a bad time for this. Let's see if we can save her. Alright, we saved it. Alright, stay tuned. I'll be right back with a new bobbin. Alright, new bobbin on. That was maddening. Alright, sorry about that. Don't know what in the hell happened there. First time that bobbin's ever given me any problems like that. Alright, first color's in. Gonna come through, kind of puff it out, get her all combed here. And you can probably see actually how sparse this really is. Alright, looking good. Second color, why don't we do purple? Second color, I'm going to thicken up just a bit here. Alright, purple. That'll look pretty good. And this piece has some, the guard hairs are pretty straight. I might thin them out just a bit, but I'll leave some of them in there. Again, the comb is everything here, so just start light and then start working your way in there. Look at all that coming out of there. If you don't comb it, all that stuff's just going to stop it from spinning. You go both directions, go that way, and then come around. Alright, let's corral this here. Go on the front. looking good. Forgot to make a dubbing loop. Do that real quick. Tool. Alright, everything's not going crazy down in there now. Give it another comb since I had to drop it. Alright, pop her in. See where all my tips are at. I got some a little shorter here, so we'll go even them up. Measure out. I'm going to go a little longer here on this one. That's probably good. Move it up just a bit. Alright, cut the tops even. I usually cut the top a little long so then I can come and pop it down, and it just gives you a little extra freedom of movement. Alright, again, I should probably, I want to get this out of there. So I think I'm going to lick my fingers here and just try to get some of this blue out of the way. And then you can hold it at an angle, your hair at an angle out, and that'll help keep it away from the materials you've already tied it in, so nothing gets, well, things have a harder time getting trapped, I should say. So I'm getting 90. Start out nice and slow. We don't want to do this fast at all. A little more here. And you'll see them like starting to curl. You'll kind of see where the problems are going to be. And we got mega trappage going on here. There we go. Up, up, up. Come on, get out of there. Alright, come through, start getting her out of, get them out of the loop. And this one, since we're actually tying it fairly long, will be kind of the one that gives you more problems. Start with my comb now. We're getting a little packed in. Okay, I think we're doing all right now. Okay, find a little spot where everything wants to fold over nicely so we don't pin anything we don't have to here. Alright. There we go. Time to wrap. Oop. So when that happens and you lose your dubbing tool, don't panic. Just kind of reset here. And somewhere I have Hackle pliers. And go around the Hackle plier. Now I've got a good hold on it. Kind of see where we're at here. Alright, I think we can work with this. Well, I'm showing you what happens when things don't go perfect. Alright. You can always go in and re-pick it out just like I just did to kind of get back into where things need to lie. Alright, back in business here. Sorry about that. Once you get to the end here, give her a tie off. Okay. Come through, get everything picked out again. Alright, comb her out now. And we've got our Finn Raccoon marabou substitute. Now we're going to throw the Amherst around in true hobo fashion. I like to be picky choosy about where it goes. And kind of how it looks. And I don't like the looks of that at all. That one's going to be a problem for me. Let's see here. There we go. Alright, one more. Alright, tie them all down. And get some crinkle mirror flash here. I'm going to do 3 strands because I'm going to double it back over, so that's going to go on top. Alright, got 3 wraps, 4 wraps, flick it back over. I'm going to cut it off. I mean, the hook is going to come a little longer since it's elevated, so I'm going to cut it off back here. And then the last thing, it's fully optional. And I'm just going to add some of this Pro JC just because I think it looks cool. Alright, just shows a whip finish. Curl the JC in a little bit. And take some of the Loon fluorescent UV finish. Get her all cured. And there you got it. Finished fly. Give it one more little comb out here. Cool. Thanks for watching.